How's it going, everyone? I don't really know what to hit on today too much, except because I want to respond to I want to respond to a comment, I guess, that has a lot to do with a pretty overall basic viewpoint that a lot of people have or are taking towards certain situations, such as my own, and it's misguided. And so we'll get to that. But first, I want to shout out to some new subscribers. Thank you very much. And a couple of you guys left some nice supportive comments. And if I remember, I'll try to post it into here. But I appreciate it very much. And hopefully, I can do a good job on this channel and keep the content interesting and try to make it better as we go along. Truth is, I could, I understand there are different things I could do to make my videos a little more appealing, make my channel a little more exciting or whatever, but there are things I could do to do that. But right now there's, I'm just making lemonade out of lemons, right? Doing the best I can do. I got some of the equipment I got should be able to make things a lot better, but this is the situation. I'm not doing any of this out of somebody's basement or anything else. I'm doing it just right out here. This is just right out here, and this is how I have to do my stuff, take care of my stuff. So whatever it is, what it is, and it's no big deal, but that gives you an idea of what goes on this channel. So if you want to, the point is, sometimes there ain't so much exciting things in the background, shit going on like that. Like a lot of people try to invest in all this stuff. I'm doing whatever I can, and the most important thing is the information we're sharing and what we're doing to help each other out and get people on the correct path. And I'll say that, and I'll have several different kinds of subjects going on in my videos, and so I'm sure everybody's going to find a little bit of something they don't like as well. So you might have found onto my channel and found some stuff you are interested in and that you like, and then it seems like sometimes there's people that end up unsubscribing because I'll get into this, I'll go through this little spell of doing some videos that are a little bit different than those subjects they first heard me talk about. And I mean, I'm here to hit on all different subjects, and at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is where we're right. If it, is being right by the book. That's just how it is, right? And so there is, so I am 100% serious when I'm giving this talk about running for sheriff of Defiance County. And I'm being 100% serious. I'll make some jokes out there and have a little fun with some stuff, but I've thought about it, and it's time to be 100% serious. Because, the fact of the matter is, our current sheriff in Defiance County is corrupt, and he does not understand the Constitution, and that's problem number one. That's a very big problem. I understand the Constitution way better than he does, so I'm more qualified. I understand the law of liberty. I understand these things. He does not. He understands that he's a puppet put in there, and everything that comes his way, he has to run to the law department, run to the court, and ask them what to do. That's not how it's supposed to be. So that alone, I'll have things changed. We'll end the corruption, and I'm not joking about this stuff. Okay, I'll make some jokes or whatever, but the only way you're going to be able to vote me in is write-in. And they'll fight that every step of the way to fight me from being able to be the sheriff. But as I've proven, they're saying the only people in control are the voters. So let's be clear on what they're saying there. What a lot of people don't understand. We'll get back to that in a minute, okay? Because this one comment and message that was sent to me. I'm not going to pick on this person, but I want to dissect it a little bit, right? So the thing is, I am being serious about that. And you write my name in Defiance County, you share this information. If you're in Defiance County, you write my name in, and I'm going to show you what how a sheriff's department is supposed to be ran, how it is to respect people's rights, to understand people's rights, to respect the Constitution, and to abide by the Constitution, to run your office abiding by the Constitution, right? He does not understand that, and he's proven that. I've proven all this on video. Everything I've proven about him on video makes me 10 times more qualified than him. So, the fact of the matter is, Defiance County, you are wasting a lot of tax money for this illegitimate sheriff that should not be sheriff, who is violating rights, costing you more money in taxpayer problems. Right? So I need a job, Defiance County, and I've showed that the opening you're going to have available, that I'm well qualified for. Far more than the guy that is there, so you need to out him and put me in place. And then you will quit wasting tax money on one end, okay? The truth of the matter is, what's going on in my situation has cost Defiance County taxpayers more on the corruption that they are pulling against me. All of the, their wrongful case against me to start with has costed Defiance County taxpayers. That costed Defiance County taxpayers. Me trying to save my home didn't cost Defiance County taxpayers one dime. Me disobeying these rules that some people want to say did not cost Defiance County taxpayers one dime. What did cost Defiance County taxpayers is their illegal actions. And that's what this boils down to. So, so I got a comment. So I got a comment from my friend Bobby Schaefer, and I'm not here to cut him down, but I have a different viewpoint, and it's not to point him out specifically. I mean, this is a common viewpoint that people have from misunderstanding. His comment, and I'll try to remember to post it up, and he follows me, follows my work on here, and I'm much appreciative, and he tries to give advice. I'm appreciative. I appreciate your concern, and everyone else in the same boat. Appreciate your concern. I appreciate these things, but let's make sure we truly understand these things. So the comment, you're going to be lucky if you don't get a felony charge out of this. I understand what happened to you, but you are making the situation worse. Take my advice. You don't make threats. You take action by the rule of law. That was the action I did, and that is the correct way to handle this, because that's where true consequences are felt and behavior is fixed. And I disagree with that. And then he also, in another message or comment, that he did show up out of concern before they came to my house, right? So if anyone's, that's been following along what happened, okay, and they showed up to my house, and and he did show up and try to plead with me, hey, this ain't, you need to get out of here. You need to get out of here. And then, but under the assumption now that because you spoke to some deputies, that bought me some time, and that's not how that happened. Okay, because the fact of the matter is, I showed up in honor on video to the sheriff's department, and I said, I want to know, what does this mean? We're going to keep the peace. A bank is showing up to take possession of this property, and the Defiance sheriff is there to keep the peace. There's a lot of things people don't understand. One, they think my foreclosure was lawful, and it was not. My foreclosure was the fastest happening foreclosure in Northwest Ohio's history. That's the truth. Nobody gets foreclosed and out that fast. They did it because they were coming after me, trying to stop me from all the stuff, because I threatened to sue them because I've tried to stand up for myself. And the problem is now I'm getting irate, doing all this stuff, and people think I'm making threats. I'm not making threats. If they had a way to charge me for a felony, I guarantee you they would be putting me in jail the minute they have the right to do so, because they are waiting for that moment. But I ain't giving it to them. I've done nothing wrong. The fact of the matter is the sheriff's office, the prosecutor, my lawyer, and even the judge have all committed felonies before they can say I committed a felony. They have all broken the law. I have not. Now, so we're breaking down my whole case, where it all come from. Everyone wants to act like it's a separate situation, and it is not. The problems with my house would have never happened if it wasn't for the Defiance County Sheriff's illegal actions against me. And the Troy Essex deciding to overlook the evidence in my favor to purposely pursue wrongful charges against me. None of this stuff would have happened, but they decided to do that. Then, when I tried to fight back, that's when they came together and took my job. And that's exactly what happened, okay? Now, then I'm minding my own business, working on my case because my lawyer sold me out. I was the only one defending myself. I understand your thing is, the right way to do it is get a lawyer and let them give you, but you're not giving them real consequences. I'm sorry, Rob, I do, Bobby Schaefer, this is not, nothing, this is the viewpoint, the overall viewpoint that a lot of people share with you, but this is the wrong viewpoint. They did not have a right to do what they did to me, as they didn't have a right to do what they did to you. But we got to look at the real facts of what happened here. On both cases, they violated rights. They violated rights. Those rights, the constitutional rights, they are there. It's not any kind of class that you might be in, any color you might be, any nationality you might be in. It's not anything to do with that, except you are an American. You have rights. God gave you those rights. And they are not allowed to violate them. And that's why the Constitution is there, to say that they are not allowed to violate those rights. Now the problem is, they didn't have a right to do what they did to me. And what I'm saying on your case, I respect what you're saying there, and I do understand that. But so the lawyer is going, and he's going to go, and what's going to happen is the taxpayers are going to pay. Going that route, that's not true justice. Nobody learns nothing. All these corrupt cops get to still stay in business and be corrupt and do all the bad things they're doing. The only people who's paying for it is the Defiance taxpayers. And I'm not cutting you down for going that route at all. You got to do what you got to do, and I understand that. And I'm not saying I wouldn't go that route. Problem is, I ain't got money to pay a lawyer. The last time I paid a lawyer, he sold me out, and that's why I'm in this situation, okay? And now, any other lawyer wants some big money up front, because this way, this is how lawyers are set up. We get paid whether you win or lose. You're going to pay me some big money up front, and, I'll try to win it, but, there's a chance I might not, so whatever. Even though I have a very winnable case, they do that because, we don't know what might happen to make us have to side with them, because we're all in it together. That's the way the system of law here in America is, and people don't want to see it. That's how Defiance is controlled by Masons, and saying that right there is what cost me the most problems. And that's the truth. So we're not getting justice that way. That's not, and I'm not saying you don't go that route. I'm not, don't misunderstand me. The point is, I've been unable to go that route. So I'm doing the route the way I have to. Okay, and I'm not making threats. It's a fact. I have went everywhere to every agency, and I have done everything to address my grievances. And they refuse. They refuse. Okay? You pick up the Constitution and read it. It's just like the Bible. That's the problem. This is what I keep saying. The two worst attacked things is the Bible and the U.S. Constitution. Oh, let us interpret that for you. Let us tell you what thou shalt not be infringed means. Let us interpret what remember the Sabbath day means, right? It says what it says and it means what it means, right? Exactly, plain in English. But we come up with all this nonsense to tickle our ears with stuff like because we don't want to see that we've been indoctrinated and that all the stuff they're telling us is a lie. And people don't want to see it. Okay, we're that the police are the good people, and they're, just like, sorry friend, when it comes to certain officers you name out to me, that's a red flag to me, because these officers' names that you gave me have violated me, and you keep telling me they're good people. Well, maybe you think they're good people, but good people don't act like that. Good people don't ruin other people's lives. Bear false witness. Okay? Like, a lot of people know, it comes down to all of us are wrong. I'm not trying to say, I'm against transgender stuff, and I'm not trying to say that I'm not the one sitting here saying, oh, if you're transgender, you're going to go to hell, right? Or if you do, I'm not, because the fact of the matter is, it's no different than the people who aren't obeying the Sabbath, right? You're sinning too. You're all sinning, okay? We're all, and that's I try to search out my own sins, whatever, and everybody can or they can't. That's not the point, okay? The point is that this is not, we're led to believe all this stuff that is nonsense, and we don't want to face the facts of stuff. Okay, we don't want to face the facts of stuff that the cops are not always the good people, and most time they are the ones in the wrong, and this is just the truth. Okay, and there is nothing I've done wrong, and this is but this is the please understand, don't take me wrong, that my words might get mixed up and you might take it wrong. This is not an attack against anybody at all. This is but I have a problem with that viewpoint. Okay, because the Constitution empowers us. I don't go running around saying, right, when they came, I was in honor. I went to the sheriff's department and said, hey, explain to me what this means. You guys just showed up to my house the other day and gave me this thing. It didn't give me no time. It didn't say be out by this time. It didn't say none of that. It just said that the bank has been given permission to have this property and the sheriffs will show up to keep the peace. So I went there to say, hey, what does this mean, keep the peace? Oh, they're fumbling all over the words. All over. I told them, I gave them a scenario that I would do the exact same thing to them that they did to me the night they violated me and threw me in jail. Oh, you can't do that to me. That's all on video. You can't do that to me. I have civil rights. Oh, you mean the rest of us don't? Right? But nobody wants to understand this. We're not second-class citizens. The day that happens, it's time to uprise, right? And that's exactly what's happening right now. We're not second-class citizens. You, officer, do not have rights above mine. We have the same rights no matter what. You wear a badge, you have rights. I don't wear a badge, I have rights. It's that simple. You're not above me. In fact, you're the servant. And a lot of people don't like me talking that way. Hey, I'm sorry to put you in your fucking place, but when it's time to put you in your place, it's time to put you in your place. You are the servant. Paid by us to serve us. Protect and serve. Us, not them, but it's changed now. They are protecting and serving the government interest against us. We are the enemy. If you're watching some of my videos with some of the intros or endings, I'll have little music clips or whatever that will show parts from stuff about Waco, clips from Waco and Ruby Ridge and all these things that started back in the 90s. People don't understand where all this came from. It started back in the 90s, right? When they started, this is when America should have been, irate and up in arms. When Americans were being attacked on American soil over lies, and we allowed the Clintons to get away with it. Not just the Clintons either, the Bushes, all these people, right? But it started back in the 90s, and there's people alive today that would have no idea what life was back in the 90s. What life was back on September 11th, 2001. These people are now old enough, right? And that's just how it is. And so the problem is we don't understand the law. I'm kind of getting all over the place here, but problem number one. they had a right to throw me out of my house. Wrong. They did not. They did not. It was not the bank's house. Like one of the messages you sent me that Bobby Schaefer, my friend, he's my friend. I'm not, but this is overall view. He's not the only one that says these things to me. Because he put the comment there, and so, I'm just calling out the view is all. But the view is, the bank owned that house. The bank didn't own that house. I did. Your house, if you're buying your house, you own that house, not the bank. And now, we can get into all that. I was doing all this deep study into law to figure out my own situation. It wasn't about my house. It was before that stuff started. I sold stuff. My life already started to fall apart, selling stuff and everything else to get me by, to figure out how to fight my own battles, because my lawyer sold me out for the prosecutor. That's the truth. But there's people that, okay, so the thing is, there's different things, and now you can get into these deep things and search it out. And I'm not actually claiming this, but this is the truth. Now, the day you go to get your house loan, that money is created. It's not real money, okay? It's debt. And that debt is created in your name, from your name, okay? That money didn't exist until they used you to put it into existence. Now, we can get into that in different videos later, but that is the truth. However, that's still not what I claimed. There's people that heard some similar stuff there and think that that's the, free man movement and all this. And it's not. What I'm saying is the truth. You got to dig into this, and we'll get into depth in this when I can get my equipment to do better videos, to make them a little, to where I can have my stuff in front of me and do this stuff right. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, when I submitted my paperwork to the court, before the sheriff showed up, knowing that there was a foreclosure coming against me, I looked into some of this stuff, and that's where I found out about that, where the money is actually created from and all this and that, how the bank got paid for that loan immediately. Okay, the minute I signed that paper and walked out of that bank, the money was given to them. Where did it come from? It came from you and me, right? It came from our account that we don't understand is there. Way back when all this stuff, way back in the 1900s, right? Early 1900s, when they started putting the Federal Reserve into place, they started replacing the gold, our real money, the gold, so they started replacing it with paper notes. That's debt, okay? But we, still beyond that. That's not what happened with my house. I submitted proper paperwork, filled out just as a lawyer would do it, and proved in that paperwork. I didn't go to court. There was no showing up to court. The court is on the paper at the time being until it goes to some kind of trial. The bank submitted their claim. They're coming. I said, hold on. The bank don't got a right to come take this house. Okay? I had insurance. You have to have insurance. I had insurance on that, and you have to have that insurance. You're forced to have that insurance. So I had this insurance. Number one, that showed... Secondly, right? Because first of all, the bank I took the loan from sold that off. And when they did that, they got paid for that note. Your note has to stay together with the mortgage. If it's valid, your note and mortgage has to stay together. It did not. My note and mortgage did not. The note went one place, the mortgage went another place. All of a sudden, somebody else, I have no idea who it is, 3 different times happens that, and I'm sure anyone that owns their house understands this. Now somebody else is servicing your loan. Now you owe somebody else the money. And meanwhile, 2 other banks just got paid. And people don't understand that. People don't understand, where did all this trillions of dollars come from? Because we're selling the same shit over and over and over again. And you keep having to pay the debt on it. That's still not where I'm coming from, but that's the facts. Okay? But now let's get into the loan that insurance I'm forced to have. Under that insurance, the insurance is there in case you default on your loan, the bank gets paid. Okay? So now when the bank already got paid, now that's 3 times this bank had got paid for that house. So when they're sending me a thing saying, you owe us this and we're going to foreclose on you, so I send it back to the court and I say, wrong. I'm not telling anybody I don't owe you money for my house. That's not the thing. I'm not trying to get my house free. It ain't nothing like that. It gets way deeper than that, for one. But okay, but the rightful claimant has to come after me, right? The insurance paid that mortgage, so that mortgage company that bank is no longer owed the money. Technically now the insurance is owed that money. They're the ones that have to come after me, and they did not. And I presented this all to the court, and the judge ignored it. He's not allowed to do that. He's got to go by the law. The law is that they submitted a non-valid copy of a note. A non-valid copy of a note. It can't be. It's got to be the original. They got to prove they have the original, and they did not. They submitted him, which I proved was already entered as invalid mortgage. It was invalid. It was no longer valid. Okay, they used those two things to come and take my house, and the court allowed it. This judge allowed it, knowing that that's not allowed. He then gives the sheriff permission, right, to keep the peace. That's all he's allowed to do. He's not allowed to have my personal property. And what people don't realize is they forced me out of that house by gunpoint. They're not allowed to do that, okay? They were there to keep the peace, okay? The possessor of that house is whoever is in it. I wasn't the one in the house. They showed up there, forced me out at gunpoint, and they have to, because now by law they can say no one was in the house, the bank came in and took it over. And the bank never showed up ever at all. It was some other guy from here in Swanton, Ohio. This bank ain't from Swanton, Ohio. And that's the facts, but people don't want to see it. It gets way deeper than that, but people don't want to see these facts. Because my house, they weren't allowed to kick me out like that. It was unlawful for them to show up gunpoint and throw me out of my house. They had to prove I was in violation of some law, and I was not. I was staying in my house. This court acted corruptly to give that to a bank that did not have rightful possession. Right? I was the one in possession of it, and they did not have rightful paperwork to show any rightful, legal, lawful ownership of the house. I was the only one that had that, but people don't want to understand this. This is how we keep getting screwed over, because we keep looking the other way and saying, well, the law is allowed to do that, and the law is allowed to do this, and they're not. And they're not. And this judge knows. This is why ain't I arrested right now? People don't understand this. And why are these people afraid to speak to me? Because they know they cannot answer for these questions. Because I put the sheriff, Doug Engel, on record, on video. I said, tell us what is theft. He won't fucking say a word. Tell us what is theft. He goes on and on about everything else. Oh, you didn't pay your bills. Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't do that. Trying to make me look like a loser, right? But won't say what is theft. You're the sheriff. You won't tell us what is theft. And he won't tell us what is theft because they are guilty of the theft. If he defined the theft, he would have to say he was guilty. And that's what people don't understand. Oh, I'm the fool here. I'm the fool here. No, these assholes stood against me, and the rest of the community don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. But if I put on a dress, the community will stand behind me. If I say I'm some other race, the community will stand behind me. But because I'm just some guy saying I have rights too, some middle-aged white man, which really I got more Indian than me, people realize, right? But because of, I'm taking as some middle-aged white man saying I have rights, well, screw you. The law is allowed to do whatever they want, and they are not. And I mean, it goes way deeper than that when it comes to my house. Further than that, okay? When they refused to give me my clothes that they took from me the night they arrested me. My own clothes. They refused to give me that, saying it was evidence. They refused to allow me this and that, saying it was evidence and reasons for a crime under investigation. Then that house, the place it supposedly happened at, would surely be evidence. So, you don't have a right to come in and put my life in shambles and take my property and make me homeless while this is all under investigation, right? I don't have a right to nothing. I wasn't allowed to sell nothing. Other people was allowed to sell my shit out from under me. But I'm not allowed to sell nothing. I'm not allowed to do nothing. I got to stay on probation. I got to stay on jail. I got all this crap because an investigation is going on, and all this is a part of that investigation. Well, that house damn sure is a part of that investigation. That means they unlawfully interfered with evidence of a crime scene. But people don't want to understand that. And, so we're just dealing with corruption here. I had some subjects I wanted to hit on other than that, but we'll have to save that. It's hot out today, and I've already gone on long enough, I guess, right? The view is wrong. They don't have a right to do these things, and I've done nothing. Anyone watching my videos, I've done, you know what? I'm a stunt man doing this for video, but I do advise you to try this at home, right? Nothing I'm doing is felony worthy, okay? They can't charge me for anything. Even if a threat, I didn't make any threats I'm not allowed to make. I have not threatened anyone. I am not a threat to anyone. The only people proven to be a threat, and the only people who has been a threat, who have made good on threats, is the sheriff's department and our local officials around here. Not me. I've done nothing wrong. So, you know, I'm not doing anything worthy. I might be walking the line a little bit there. You know, I might be pushing some boundaries, whatever. I'm not guilty of any crimes. Certainly not no felonies. The day you have to come after me for supposed felonies, right, because you don't understand the law. Because the day they have to come after me and try to claim that, then they have to stand in line and take theirs. Because they are all far more guilty than I am, right? And of course, you know, I had my big rally. Maybe you heard about. Biggest rally ever. No one brings as many people to a rally as me, right? For our local sheriff's thing, I was having my rally, and of course they had the attempt on me. Thanks for showing up for this rally for my campaign to run for sheriff. I really appreciate it. No other rally has had so many people. This is the biggest rally of its kind. So many people come to this rally, unlike any other rally before. We have the most people as ever before. And I want to direct your attention to the corruption of the sheriff. We're going to just get right to it. And I'll show you this chart, this great big chart we had made that shows how many lives was ruined from the corruption of Douglas Ingo. I'll direct your attention to this chart right over here. And you know, all of a sudden I had turned and felt this sharp, and I was like, oh, what is that? And I looked at my hand and I was like, oh, there's blood all over the place. Surely somebody's shooting. But then you run into this problems. Whiskey saw a squirrel, so he wasn't able to save me. And, you know, we had the sheriff's department. They're doing no good about it. You know, the perp is still on the loose out there somewhere, but the sheriff's department ain't doing nothing. He's claiming nothing happened, and he's refusing to do anything about it. City police say that it ain't their jurisdiction. The state police was caught, locked behind a fence, you know, and here this guy was caught an hour before my rally even started, running around carrying a ladder, carrying a high-powered rifle, carrying a rangefinder, carrying a backpack, riding a bicycle up around the thing, running up on the roof with it, and nobody stopped it. That tells me that proves it right there. The sheriff is part of the deep county, and they're after me, right? They're not after me, they're after you, and I'm the one standing in the way because they know I'm coming here to run for sheriff to set you guys free. You know, there's deniers out there saying, oh, that's not real, that's not what happened, saying, you know, questioning the miraculous recovery of my ear. You know, it was blown off, half off, and, you know, and that was a couple days ago, but now, you know, now people want to question it. Look, the doctor said himself that it probably just grazed it, and the ear bleeds a lot real easily. And, you know, so then there was blood all over the place. And, but, you know, he says another day or two, it'll look like nothing even ever happened. And, you know, you can be a non-believer all you want, but the truth is, you just don't know my regimen of drinking a glass of bleach a day, you know, makes you heal up real easily. Cleans you out real good. Ain't that right, whiskey? But, you know, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't drag on to it anymore. There's some other subjects. There's a different subject I wanted to hit, but I went on and on about this. Look, we got it. I appreciate everyone watching my videos. Some of them will be dumb like this one, I suppose. Maybe not so. You know, I don't have all my stuff with me to back up some of the stuff I'm saying, but I assure you, our sheriff's department had no right. And if this happens to you, actually, anyone facing similar crime to mine, if it's a very fresh case, you get a hold of me right away before you talk to a lawyer, before you talk to the prosecutor, before you do anything, and I'll get it stopped right away. The only problem in my case, what happened with my case, is my lawyer fucked me and hid some information from me, and had I known it, and had he done his job, mine would have been stopped right away. My life would have never been put into shambles like this. But because he was a little bitch ass siding with them, he hid this information from me. They do not ever have a right to take your home from you. And when you're the one in possession, the sheriff don't have the right to come there with the guns to force you to leave off your property. The sheriff has to prove that it is not your property. He don't get to say, well, the court said you get to go. No, sheriff, under your constitutional duty, I came to your office and said, what does to keep the peace mean? Oh, we'll come back and tell you. They didn't. Instead, they sent 3 different people to my house, citizens, to give me warnings. That don't count. You come to my house myself and tell me how many days I have, but they did not do that. Instead, they showed up, took me by surprise, all guns out, and then had this 3-day notice in their hand. And the 3-day notice wasn't even technically any good. The court does not have any right to tell the sheriff he has the authority to remove me from a property that I am in possession of. And he does not ever have a right, even beyond that, he does not have a right to tell them they have any right to touch any personal property of mine, like my bed, my clothes, my tools, my bike, my whole house furnishings. You don't have that right. You don't have that right. Who wants to stand up and say that they are in the right and I'm in the wrong? And that's the problem. We have such a society so screwed up and so misled and brainwashed from the time we were young to believe all these things. We don't understand our own power. And they know I understand this, and that's why they're trying their best to keep me shut up. They got people on here disliking my videos on purpose. We've already proven that they've been watching my videos. They're disliking them on purpose to keep them low, to keep me hushed. They do it with my website. They do it with my social media accounts. Because if the more of us come onto this stuff and start realizing the real facts and the real truth, life would change. We tip the scales in our favor. And now the time's running out. You know, one of the subjects I was going to get on is this stuff going on, and Italy's about to blow. We're not the only ones facing these signs of end times judgments. I talk mostly about ours because we're Americans and this is where it's at, right? But it's the whole world, really. All of Italy's about to be blown off the map, you know, with volcanoes and stuff over there. All the things are coming. We all need to get ourselves in check. And one thing we need to realize is those who are trying to steal us away from God. They're trying to steal us away from heaven. Trying to steal heaven away from us. Because they're not going to get it. The people acted against me, if they continue to take this stand, they will not inherit heaven. Just says, you know, I understand that about certain things I've done. I've had to change things about myself in order to be able to, right? I'm not saying I'm going and they're not and all this and that. I'm not trying. You cannot act that way. You cannot be this way, right? There's lots of things people don't want to see. Like, I'm not claiming any denomination, but the whole Saturday Sabbath thing is a very serious thing, and we don't understand that. It's going to keep us from God. And what? So we can answer to these people? All these atheists out there want to act like, oh, you know, what? Would you rather answer to one king of God who's righteous? Or to these people who are ruining our lives, right? The reason for the 10 Commandments there, that is the law of liberty. And the Saturday is the 4th commandment, right? You know, it's one of the main commandments. I hit on that a lot. But it's all these things we don't understand. It's law and religion. Both of these things we don't understand. Taking more shots at me, right? Oh, whiskey. I think they are, though. So, but we don't understand these things, and the evil forces take advantage of that. They take advantage of that. And, so I just want to clear up those things right here. I'm not doing anything illegal, unlawful, and I am more in my rights than the sheriff is, and I am more in my rights than any of these local officials who have acted against me. They had no right to take my house, especially that fast. And now here it is over a year now that they've kept all my stuff. More than that for some of my clothes, right? But they have everything that belongs to me, all my personal items. There is nothing you can do in the world to tell me that they have a right to any of that stuff, and that I called immediately to ask where it was at, and they refused to tell me where that's at. That is theft. That is theft pulled off by Jason Baker of iLink Realty in cahoots with the Defiance County Sheriff's Office, which also the local judge here, the local court, acted in cahoots with those also. The bank is people with the money, they're the ones that are going to win, and that's the way it is. And if I'm sheriff, that's not how it's going to be. Okay, everyone has rights, and we need to get an understanding of this stuff. We need to get an understanding of all this stuff they're trying to. Religion and law, the two things they want to keep you misunderstood about. Even though you can pick up either one, you can pick up the Bible and read it for yourself and understand what it says. Just like, okay, the whole Saturday Sabbath thing, there's language in there, and then you got the people that try to defend it being Sunday, which is wrong, okay? And they use that, and the language they're saying is Sabbaths, which is different from the Sabbath. But they don't want to explain that to you, right? But there's people that know this, but will be more than happy to let you be misled, just like the law. Just like the law. These people know that the sheriff did not have a right to come guns out and force me out of my house. But they know that most of you don't know that. And so they're going to try to shut up anyone that makes you see it any other way. They will make sure you misunderstand the law. Most people are ended up being found guilty of all these stupid little crimes that they're not even guilty of because they don't understand the law. They don't understand their rights. And that's my main purpose here on this channel, is to show you your rights and to show you the truth. And that's why I'm, breaking into Christianity a lot, because it's about Jesus, about God. It's about the truth, right? And the law. It's about the truth. These audits. It's about the truth, the facts, and what your rights are. And it's far more than being able to walk around in a public building with the camera out, okay? It's about being able to live your life without being interfered with by the government, unlawfully and wrongfully by the government. It's about being able to, have your freedom and have your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Have your rights to your property. Right? A lot of people don't understand our property rights. That's the first violation that happened with me. They violated my property rights right off the bat. Then they showed up to my work and violated my civil rights. They were guilty right off the bat. And then you start calling out Masons, then all of a sudden, because the thing is, like I'm saying, if you're charged here in Northwest Ohio, probably anywhere in Ohio, maybe even further than that, if you're charged with the crime of domestic violence and you truly are innocent, you get a hold of me right away, and I'll show you before it goes too far, and I'll show you how to put a stop to it right away, because they are taking over and violating your due process, violating your property rights, not having a proper hearing beforehand to grant them said power. And the reason the appeals court wanted to side against me is pretty easy to see, because the way I was arguing my case, if they would side in my favor, then it shows that there's so many people out there being violated. They would have to admit it. And that's where I had them on the spot. But they wanted to choose, and it's wrong. They were wrong. They know they're in the wrong. The court, they wanted to say, pull the shit about shit not being on the record, because they're lying about it. Our appeals court They're just as crooked as our regular courts. They proved it in my case because they did not want this kind of thing getting onto the record. If they had to side in my favor, then it puts on the record that these guys are indeed violating our due process rights, taking over control over our property when we're supposedly guilty of crimes before we're even found guilty, right? It's just a sick mess we're living in, and a lot of people are misunderstanding things. I'm going to wrap this one up so I can get back onto, sometimes I got to rant about some of this stuff and get this out of my mind so I can get back onto the more important subjects that I've been working on. So I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep all of his commandments, for that is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. See ya.